Hey guys, T-Bull here. Today we're going to look at Omaha American Tier 4 Cruiser replay on the map Ring Mode Domination. And I'm making this video in response to 2694 Jordan leaving the comment, "Good vid, but you never mentioned double tapping the trigger to fire instead of holding it down. Most console players don't know this yet, and it is a must. Double tapping fires all the guns at once, making it more accurate." And he's absolutely correct. It is a good method of firing. So I kind of looked through some replays I had, and this one I'd say probably about 95% of the shots are firing in that mode. So what he's talking about specifically is a lot of new players hold down the trigger, which kind of releases a steady burst of shots, like boom, 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 boom. And it's not mentioned anywhere in the game that this double tap, if you let all the guns load, which if you look at the diagram in the center, they'll all turn white when they're pointed at the target and loaded. And then if you just hit the trigger twice rapidly, you'll get these nice quick bursts that tend to be pretty accurately dispersed. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're reasonably confident that you're aiming properly and your shots, if they go where you're aiming, are going to hit, try giving it a couple quick taps like this, and you'll find yourself with clean, tight dispersions. So this game, obviously, our team went north and south, and that's what their team's doing too. Again, I posted up in the center like this to try and kind of influence both sides without being immediately targeted. So these American cruisers do a really good job of shooting over hills. They have really high arcing shots on their guns, so that allows you to just rain down shots. And really the name of this game is setting them all on fire from this range. AP shots are going to be a lot more useful at closer range, so usually anything over 8 kilometers or so I try and focus on using HE shots. And just touching on this auto lock, you see when that circle's popping up on these guys, that means they're within range, and then that's who the game is targeting from my perspective. You can change that with, you'll have to check your controller configurations. The controller configuration I use, it's L1 on PS4 to change this. And when they're targeted like that, then you can auto lock onto them, which will keep the reticle moving at a steady pace. So if these ships are gonna drive in a straight line and same speed and all that, I'm just gonna lock the gun on like this, and every time these guns are loaded, do a nice quick double tap. We're just going to keep setting them on fire over and over again. It's, you know, we got about 30k damage, which is pretty good for this ship at this point in the game. So, but looking at the map, that south side, despite us whittling them down, they're kind of losing. So I'm going to try and push through to help this northern flank here. We got to win one side of the map, and then be able to turn around and fight the other guys. So their southern flank did win, but I think hopefully between me shooting them, and I'm not aware of what our teammates were doing, but between the two of us, hopefully we whittled them down enough that once we win this side, if we do, we can turn around and fight those guys. Now here's an example of me holding down the trigger and get more of a dispersed shot. I'll usually use this method when ships are like turning like that, or in situations where I'm not sure that what I'm aiming at is going to hit. Sometimes these cruisers, I don't know all the speeds of the cruisers, destroyers, so you know, if you watch my aiming video, I kind of have a baseline way of how I line up these shots, but a lot of times you have to adjust that for the particular ship. So, but once you're kind of dialed in and you think you're aimed in where you want to be, try and practice with this double tab method. It's just another arrow in your quiver, and getting familiar with it and comfortable with it. Both ways of shooting, either holding it down. You can also single tap it and just shoot one gun at a time. So I guess there's three ways of shooting guns. But just get comfortable with this. I'm gonna play a few games. It might take 2 or 3 games to kind of figure out exactly how to use it. It might take you 2 or 3 shots. I mean, it's not really that difficult, but once you get the hang of it, you can see we're landing nice tight shots on these ships. So looks like we got about 10 fires so far, and yeah, we're not done yet. Let's put it that way. And what is influencing the arc of the shells is both weight of the shell and the velocity that the gun fires it at. So American cruisers, a lot of American guns in general, I suppose, have these nice... They're nice if you're trying to arc over hills, but they got these arcing shots that kind of allow you to find some cover. You can see I've been detected a lot of the game, and usually I'd try and focus on breaking line of sight so I'm not being detected as much, but based on the position I took up, which again was kind of recognizing that this map was likely going to break out into 2 flanks, and if I parked behind this island, then I ventured a little north of it at this point, but that island pitched right there. You know, just kind of using that as a pivot, I could influence both flanks and get around quickly, and really being out of sight and out of mind for these guys. Now here I make a mistake. You gotta, anytime a destroyer's showing a side view and he's not shooting guns, that's automatically a time where you should think, all right, he's shooting at torpedoes. That wasn't my mistake. I assumed he was. My mistake was not using my sonar. I thought if I stopped, he would miss. Looks like this first salvo. Yeah, that. All right. Oh, that was close. The first one missed completely. The second one looks like one of the torps hit the island. 2 of them snuck by, and they connected with me. So, had I used the sonar, I don't know why I didn't. Either just focus on something else or just being lazy. But I would have been able to see those coming a lot sooner, and hopefully been able to maybe turn into them and weave through them, as opposed to taking 2 on the side like that. That almost ended my game. Luckily we had set a fire on him, burned him out, and we managed to survive, so it's back to Pyromania. And again, just a lot of newer players, I think, don't realize how readily you can shoot over these hills. They think if you can't see the ship on the screen, then you probably can't hit them. Some guns, that's going to be more true than others. For instance, I got a German 2-3 destroyer as a reward for being part of the Alpha team. And from what I can tell on that ship, I think the German guns have a much faster flying shell with lower arcs, so they're probably going to be shooting over hills less than, like, say, the American guns.
We've destroyed an enemy battleship.
Now we got 4 kills, hoping for the 5th, which is the Kraken medal. That's kind of one of the big goals to shoot for in this game, so. And you can see really this hill right here, really high. I mean, the guy can't see me yet, so again, if I was more focused on the vision game. These guys have just basically left me alone. Besides that destroyer, I don't think anyone shot at me yet. And really, most of my shots have been long range. shots, so let's say maybe they're all HE except for that one salvo where the guy was turning that I was. And the only reason I had AP loaded there, I don't think I mentioned at the time, but I was expecting him to be coming over around the ridge broadside, and he was close enough that I was going to try and start hitting some citadel shots on him. But as soon as he turned, well, I fired off that salvo in the arcing manner, trying to track where he was turning, and then immediately went back to HE because he was either going to drive away from me or maybe further off into the distance where HE would continue to be the preferred shell. So this is kind of a good look at long-range sniping with cruisers.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
But yeah, thanks to Jordan for pointing that out that I hadn't brought up the double tap method of shooting. I'm trying to keep these beginner videos focused on the topics that they're on, just so I'm not overwhelming people with information. Once I kind of transition into more replay focused, once we cover most of the basics, then the focus will just be on replays of individual ships or stuff like that. And at that point, we'll just kind of bring up stuff as it arises. But that's a great tip. Try it out. And that should help your shooting. So if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Questions, comments, for sure, leave them below. I want to hear what you got to say. And we'll see you guys all later. Peace.